And at number 10, Nikki Hilton. Nikki Hilton wore a risque gown with see-through panels that ended up showing off her entire backside while she was walking up the stairs. On July 5th of 2015, Hilton attended the Versace fashion show in Paris, but it's clear she didn't practice going up the stairs in the dress because photographers got some photos of her bare butt showing in the see-through parts of the dress. The mishap happened days before she got married to her fiancé, James Rothschild, at the Kensington Palace. And since she was walking a red carpet into the venue, there were tons of paparazzi snapping photos of the awkward blunder. And at number 9, Cara Delevingne. Unfortunately, Cara Delevingne has had a few wardrobe malfunctions in her day that exposed quite a bit. The latest was when she was featured on the Friends reunion special when she modeled an iconic dress from the show. The cast of Friends were overjoyed to see Delevingne walking out in a recreation of the very tacky bridesmaids look that Jennifer Aniston's character Rachel wore to her ex-fiancé Barry's wedding. It's a bright pink Pepto-Bismol-esque dress and a matching hat that is one of the poofiest I have ever seen. Rachel wore the dress in the season 2 finale, which was titled The One with Barry and Mindy's Wedding. In the episode, Rachel suffers a wardrobe malfunction, and when she steps out in the dress, her bright red panties are exposed. Delevingne copied the exact same scenario and exposed her butt in some bright red panties that were also caught in the dress, exactly the same way that Rachel's had been. And at number 8, Sarah Jessica Parker. Well, on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, SJP embraced the rips on her beautiful dress and laughed it off while showcasing the rips to the audience. While on the show, she wore a green velvet Alberta Ferretti gown dress with a touch of lace on the parts of the dress. After Andy complimented her on the dress, she admitted that she tore multiple rips in the sleeves of the dress. She said, quote, "I love the dress, I borrowed it. This is in no way reflects on the house of Ferretti. Most celebrities would have done everything possible to cover up the imperfections in the dress, but instead she embraced it, believing that they added character to the look." She added, quote, "I kind of dig this, it does something to this dress." And at number 7, Miley Cyrus. This one is the most recent wardrobe malfunction. While Miley was on stage performing during her New Year's Eve special that she was hosting with Pete Davidson, her tiny strappy shirt broke during the performance, and thankfully she was able to catch it before it was a live TV disaster. Miley caught the falling shirt, turned around to expose her bare back, then started walking off stage while still performing. The cameras panned to the musicians playing on stage, and within seconds Miley was back on stage performing in a different outfit, although the red blazer that she came back on stage with was almost as revealing as the other one. Hopefully Miley's stylists learned their lesson with that outfit. And at number 6, Jennifer Garner. Thanks to celebrities like Kim Kardashian being open about their use of shapewear like Spanx, this wardrobe malfunction is a lot less embarrassing than it would have been back in the day when women pretended they didn't wear these things. While Garner was on the red carpet for a premiere of a new movie, she was posing with co-star Steve Carell when she accidentally lifted up her own dress and exposed her Spanx to the world. The premiere was for the movie Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. Garner was wearing a little black dress by Valentino featuring a multi-layered tiered skirt. Garner was trying to get the perfect pose when she put her clutch to her side. The only problem was she didn't realize she was grabbing at her dress at the same time, which exposed basically everything underneath her dress. Although I'm sure she was glad she was wearing Spanx that day and didn't show off her underwear. Halfway number 5, Janet Jackson. The Janet Jackson Super Bowl incident is easily the most famous because it happened live during the Super Bowl halftime show, notoriously the most watched event in America. At the 2004 Super Bowl, the phrase wardrobe malfunction was coined after her nipple was exposed because of a faulty costume, or intentional stunt. We're not really sure the true story. During the performance, Justin Timberlake clearly took a hold of her shirt and ripped off the part right above her breast. Following the scandal, Janet Jackson took all of the heat, and the public lashed out at her for months, even though it was clearly not her fault, and Justin Timberlake was responsible for the entire incident, like he's the one that grabbed the shirt. The Federal Communications Commission even took CBS to court, seeking nearly $600,000 in fines for the scandalous halftime performance. Both singers issued apologies shortly after. And at number 4, Charli XCX. Charli XCX had a COVID wardrobe malfunction in the comfort of her own home, so thankfully she was able to refilm the incident and it wasn't actually put on live TV. However, because she likes to make fun of herself, she posted the clip on her own Instagram after the awards went live. During the ARIA Awards in November of 2021, Charli presented an award to Justin Bieber and the Kid Laroi for their single Stay. In the mishap after she waved goodbye, the strap of her dress slipped and her breast immediately became exposed. She was obviously shocked and tried to cover herself up as soon as possible, but because it wasn't really live, she was able to laugh it off. She re-recorded her presentation without any nip slips for the actual show, but thankfully she shared the clip to social media so we could all enjoy it. And at number 3, Lil Nas X. This one is my personal favorite for 2021 because it happened on SNL, where the cameras basically never cut. During this May 2021 performance, he was singing his latest hit, Montero, Call Me By Your Name. While performing incredibly intense dance moves, he was wearing very tight pants, and I'm sure you can guess where this is going. At one point he started to pole dance, and that's where it all went downhill. But halfway through the pole performance, Lil Nas X grabbed for his private areas to cover them up after the rip, making sure nothing had shown on television. After the performance, he tweeted, quote, "I know I do a lot of planned shit, but ripping my pants on live television is not one of them." And at number 2, Cardi B. With all the scandalous outfits that Cardi wears along with her dancing, it's not hard to believe she landed on this list. Cardi has actually had a few wardrobe malfunctions go down over the years. One time while she was performing at the Bonnaroo festival, her jumpsuit ripped right around the zipper and exposed part of her butt to the crowd. Right as it happened, she told the crowd, quote, "I just want to let y'all know that my outfit ripped." But that didn't stop her from twerking, and she continued to perform the set as if nothing happened. Once the rip got too big to ignore, she simply covered it up with a bathrobe, which she wore for the rest of the performance. At one point, it even looked like the bathrobe might have a malfunction of its own. And finally, number 1, Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle proved she's just like the rest of us when she was caught still having the tag on a new dress that she bought. While she was getting off the plane in the Kingdom of Tonga, paparazzi caught that the tag was still attached to her red self-portrait dress on October 25th. The tag was at the very bottom of the dress, so it's understandable why she didn't notice it beforehand. I don't think anyone was able to see the price because I wonder how much her dresses cost. I mean, that's what I'm interested in. Meghan was pregnant and on a tour through that region for weeks beforehand, so she was probably just too tired to check.
Starting off our list today at number 10, we have Harry Styles. Harry Styles was left a little red-faced after he suffered a wardrobe malfunction back in January while he was performing in front of one of his first celebrity crushes, Jennifer Aniston. During the middle of Harry's concert, the singer split his trousers right down the middle while he was belting out to his hit song music for a sushi restaurant. Later, a video would surface online where Harry could be seen dropping to his knees before making a shocking face to the crowd as he realized his pants had split. The former One Direction member quickly then covered the rip with his hands and managed to see the funny side while apologizing to the audience sitting in the front row. When he said, "My trousers ripped. I feel I must apologize to a certain few of you right down in the front there." Later, the musician was seen running around the stage before grabbing a pride flag, which he used to cover up the split by tying it around his waist. Number 9, Miley Cyrus. After ringing in the new year on the NBC New Year's Eve special, at one point during the show, Miley lost her top during her performance, which caused her to quickly improvise and change her entire look while continuing on with her set. The moment took place just after Miley performed her hit We Can't Stop and transitioned into another hit, Party in the USA. As she was strutting around the stage in a silver outfit, Miley could be seen holding onto her top as she sang the opening lyrics of the song before she then made her way backstage as her backup singers and band continued to play. The singer then returned to the stage in a red blazer, which she previously wore in her program earlier, and she channeled into her 2009 song by saying, "Everybody is definitely looking at me now. I'm still in the most clothes I've ever wore on stage." Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Number 8. Janet Jackson. Most people can't even remember who won the Super Bowl back in 2004, but what most people can remember is the biggest moment of the night when Justin Timberlake ripped off the top of Janet Jackson's black bodice, and for a fraction of a second revealed Janet's bare chest that was covered only by a shield. Later, Janet's spokesman would then call the incident a wardrobe malfunction that was not intentional. He then went on to say he was supposed to pull away from the bustier and leave a red lace bra. The whole incident went on to ruin Janet's career, even after she made a public statement saying, "The whole thing went wrong in the end. The decision to have a costume reveal at the end of my halftime performance was one made after the final rehearsal. scandal. MTV was completely unaware of it, and it was not my intention that it would go as far as it did. I apologize to anyone offended, including the audience, MTV, CBS, and the NFL. But why did Justin never face the same consequences? Number 7. Nicki Minaj. In 2011, Nicki Minaj stole the show at the American Music Awards with her performance. But what fans don't know is that she actually had a major wardrobe malfunction before hitting the stage. The AMAs was set to be an amazing performance, but when Nicki had a horrible malfunction with her clothes and her hair just 10 minutes before she was set to open, she would tell Complex magazine, "So I was backstage having an effing nervous breakdown. My hair was supposed to light up, my choker was too small." Nicki then somehow managed to pull it all together, so while she was in the box waiting for her show, she ripped off her outfit, threw it to the side, and pretty much had to act like nothing happened. So when the star did finally hit the stage, she freaked out because it wasn't the show she wanted. Number 6. Lindsay Lohan. Back in 2008, the Daily Mail would state that Lindsay Lohan would win the most embarrassing wardrobe malfunction as she led the young Hollywood charge on the red carpet. The star would then soon be left feeling embarrassed after she was caught off guard by a gust of wind. There wasn't a lot with the dress to begin with, so the gust of wind just whipped up her flimsy skirt. The poor girl was then left beaming away uncomfortably when her flesh-colored girdle made an unexpected public debut. The star tried not to let the moment get the best of her, and she continued to smile for the cameras. While the moment could have been the perfect Marilyn Monroe moment, it just wasn't a good moment for Lindsay. Luckily for Lindsay, her friend was right by her side to help her fight the gust of air, but the help could have came a little sooner. Number 5. Katherine Heigl. So back in 2010, when Katherine Heigl was accepting the Showist Award for Female Star of the Year in Las Vegas, one of the straps of her dress would break, and it shocked the actress, and then she continued to try to make her acceptance speech. Access Hollywood host Billy Bush then immediately ran to her rescue and helped the star by holding her strap in place. Just after, Billy would take to Twitter to say that while he was hosting the awards in Las Vegas, Katherine's dress broke and he had to hold her top on while she was accepting the award. By the end of the night, it all seemed well as Katherine was able to regain her composure and finish her speech. Later, she went backstage and found pins so she could secure the strap so she could continue taking photos, and then she went on to praise Billy for all of his help. Number 4. Britney Spears. When Britney Spears kicked off her Piece of Me tour with a bang, she probably didn't intend it to come with a wardrobe malfunction while performing her song Do Something. A video captured by a fan and posted to YouTube would reveal that Britney was struggling to adjust her sparkly black bra behind a set wall mid-song. When she re-emerged from the behind makeshift prop, her chest was slightly exposed. Whether the pop princess failed to notice it or merely just chose to keep things moving on, she did finish out the rest of her number without fixing her top, and it definitely hasn't been her first wardrobe malfunction, as back in 2016 she also handled things like a pro when her bra popped open on stage during her Piece of Me show in Las Vegas, as the star could be seen quickly covering her chest with her hands until her backup dancers were able to refasten her top back up. Number 3. Cardi B. So in 2019, when Cardi made her second return to the stage following plastic surgery complications, the rapstress certainly made an impact at Bonnaroo Music Festival after she had a pretty embarrassing wardrobe malfunction. The press hitmaker was wearing a skin-tight, multicolored, all-in-one jumper which tore half down the seam while she was dancing and twerking around the stage. Trying not to let the mishap get the best of her, she quickly ran backstage and returned wearing a white bathrobe over the top of her underwear, and she managed to complete the rest of the set like that. Onlookers then went on to praise how Cardi handled the malfunction by claiming that Cardi being in a robe at Bonnaroo is a mood. And they definitely weren't wrong, as when the star walked on the stage she yelled "I'm back," and she was clearly living her best life as she danced the night away in her bathrobe. Number 2. Lil Nas X. When Lil Nas X made his Saturday Night Live musical guest debut on season 46 finale, while he was performing 2 of his recent singles in 2021, he ended up enduring a wardrobe malfunction on live television. During the rapper's Call Me By Your Name performance, Lil Nas X could be seen wearing a fire leather pant, which appeared to tear in the upper thigh area right after he was reenacting a part from the music video's controversial pole sequence. Later, Lil Nas would head to his Twitter to say, "Not my pants ripped on live TV. OMFG, no, I wanted to do my pole routine so bad. This is what I get. LMAO." While the star didn't want to ruin his his performance, he wanted to continue on with his set. For the remainder of the song, Lil Nas then went on to split his attention between both finishing out the song and noticeably keeping his pants intact. And it makes you wonder when performers are going to understand that the look of tight pants may be nice, but wearing pants that fit can actually prevent these malfunctions from happening. And this is why you do dress rehearsals in your outfits, and it's necessary to do so. Every dancer and performer knows this. Luckily for his second performance, his song Sun Goes Down went malfunction free, with the rapper contrasting the devilish hellscape with a more heavenly setting. Number 1. Khloe Kardashian. Over the last decade, Khloe Kardashian has had a handful of wardrobe malfunctions that she has had to handle like a boss. One of her most memorable clothing issues was when she suffered a noticeable chest slip on camera during a June 2011 appearance on Fox and Friends. While she was speaking with the show's host, Khloe accidentally exposed her chest for a few minutes into the interview while she was wearing a black sheer top. However, she didn't let the brief moment bring her down. Later in a post on Twitter, Khloe would state that she had a little slip up and she loved it, before tweeting that her mom even called her saying the incident was all over the internet and she didn't think this type of thing was so special. Khloe has also been pretty vocal about dreading clothing slip-ups, when she would admit that she was feeling frantic when she experienced a unique shirt malfunction backstage of the Ellen DeGeneres show. She would tell People magazine at the time that because she had a malfunction with her shirt, she had to scrunch over because she didn't have a shirt under her blazer.
Coming in at number 10, we have Black Eyed Peas. Booking the band for 2011's Super Bowl halftime show might have seemed like a great idea in theory, considering their reputation as a high-energy pop group with nationwide mainstream popularity and a boatload of hits. Unfortunately, several fundamental issues became immediately clear when they started performing. The Peas were surrounded by dancers flailing around in light-up morph suits, and they also wore the same thing. They did their version of "I've had the time of my life," and the whole time Usher looked like he wanted to be somewhere else. Aside from the horrible costumes, the performance confirmed the long-running rumors about the group's inability to perform live. They revealed themselves to be a woefully inadequate live act for a halftime show, particularly considering that most of the singing was handled by Fergie, who certainly isn't known to be the strongest live vocalist. In fact, sports fans were reminded of this during her misguided performance of the national anthem at the NBA's 2018 All-Star Game. Number 9. Katy Perry. The singer was once the most successful pop artist in the early 2010s, almost as soon as her tunes hit the airwaves, but it seems like her career really started to take a turn in the middle of the decade, and her controversial Super Bowl performance didn't help her cause at all. Katy performed many of her most popular songs, but people got hung up on the cheesy set pieces like the giant dancing sharks. In fact, this is what turned her show into a literal meme. At the end of her rendition of Teenage Dream, right before the transition into California Girls, disaster struck. But it wasn't really Katy's fault, it actually had everything to do with a mistake made by one of her backup dancers, who was wearing one of the shark costumes. The dancer on the left appeared to forget the choreography during the song, and the slip-up went viral. At the beginning of the song, the two sharks were dancing lockstep with one another, but as the number went on, the left shark appeared to increasingly lose track of where he was in the dance. In an effort to get back on track, he was flailing around, which was hilarious. The show remains the most viewed halftime show in the game's history, so people were entranced by the performance, both in a positive and in a negative way. Number 8. Janet Jackson. The infamous wardrobe malfunction that shook the entertainment world happened on stage during the 2004 Super Bowl halftime show to none other than Janet Jackson. No one could forget when Janet and Justin Timberlake performed Rock Your Body, and as Justin reached the final note, he pulled off a piece of Janet's costume, which was essentially her bra cup, and flashed an estimated 143 million viewers. According to Janet's publicist, the moment was only meant to reveal her red bra underneath, but a wardrobe malfunction resulted in the entire thing coming off. Viewers were shocked and Janet's career spiraled, and an immediate scandal ensued. Since then, the incident has inspired numerous performances, songs, and TV episodes. In fact, last year, FX and Hulu released a documentary called Malfunction, the dressing down of Janet Jackson, which aimed to explore the racial and cultural currents that collided on the Super Bowl stage. Interestingly enough, the stylist who was behind Janet's Super Bowl look, Wayne Scott Lucas, told Page Six that Justin was actually behind it all because he wanted to upstage Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, and Madonna, who kissed at the 2003 MTV Video Music Awards a few months earlier. Number 7. Adam Levine. The Maroon 5 frontman was heavily criticized for his performance at the 2019 Super Bowl halftime show. It was a highly controversial year, as the NFL came under fire for their treatment of Colin Kaepernick, the former 49ers quarterback who was blackballed for kneeling in protest of police brutality. Artists like Rihanna and Cardi B all declined to perform in support of him. But Adam Levine took the job, despite the fact that 100,000 Maroon 5 fans signed a petition urging the band to drop out. In the end, it was a disaster. Not only was his performance considered to be super boring, but viewers were also upset with his lack of clothing. The singer's shirtless chest was front and center during the show, and this angered a lot of fans who compared it to Janet Jackson's infamous Nipplegate and the double standard there. Adam ripped off his shirt shortly into Maroon 5's set, exposing his tattoo-covered chest and of course his nipples. This move left viewers outraged, and people were quick to point out how hypocritical his shirtless performance was after Janet faced severe backlash and punishment for the same thing. Number 6. Justin Timberlake. The singer gave a jumbled and downright messy performance at his Super Bowl halftime show in 2018. It seemed like everything was going wrong. And of course, his choice of wardrobe was questionable. Justin was decked out in a camo suit with clashing prints, complete with an orange bandana. The set was also plagued by some strange sound mixing and editing, and in the first segment of the performance, his vocals were getting drowned out by the instrumentation. Many people thought he would reunite NSYNC or bring out Janet Jackson, but instead he performed with a projection of the late singer Prince and sang a medley of his old hits. After the performance, critics immediately weighed in on the show, with the reviews ranging from mediocre to absolute disgust. Forbes' Brian Rowley wrote, "Justin Timberlake's Super Bowl halftime show performance should have afforded him the opportunity to remind the world why he's remained a pop cultural juggernaut for 2 decades. Instead, the singer delivered a lifeless, by-numbers performance that largely eschewed his new album in favor of his widely beloved back catalog." Now that review was pretty harsh, but it's actually in line with what a lot of people thought. Number 5. Shakira and J-Lo. The 2020 Super Bowl halftime show was interesting to say the least, and it was a big night considering that 2 musical icons were sharing the stage. But it turns out that J-Lo wasn't a big fan of giving up the spotlight. In her recently released documentary called Halftime, she labeled it as the worst idea in the world. She said, "If it was going to be a double headliner, they should have given us 20 minutes. That's what they should have effing done." Basically, it turns out that Jennifer was frustrated with the NFL for booking 2 headliners and making them share the same amount of time that any solo performer would receive, as opposed to doubling it and giving the women extra time to shine. As a result, fans slammed the artist for coming off as entitled. While it's true that they only gave the performers 6 minutes each, the action-packed show garnered immense praise from fans across the globe, with many fans commending the women for showcasing their Latin heritage so brilliantly. What J-Lo was really mad about though is that previous solo headliners like Beyonce and The Weeknd received 14 minutes to perform. But judging by her complaints, it's clear that she feels so offended that they asked her to share the stage at all. Number 4. Phil Collins. The Disney-produced Stadium Spectacular was well-meaning, but it was very confusing. Over 2 minutes was wasted with overblown orchestral parts and matching puppets. Christina Aguilera and Enrique Iglesias performed well, but then Phil Collins turned up and looked and sounded badly out of place. Most people thought it was a terrible decision not to let them sing any of their own hits. This very 2000s wild spectacle of a performance is an example of everything that was wrong with the way the Super Bowl used to do its mid-game performances. The Disney production was intended to be a dazzling spectacle of global unity, but in the end it turned out to be an incomprehensible mess. The show was criticized for having ugly set pieces, dancers in vague costumes that were supposed to represent different countries around the globe, and the singers like Phil Collins singing original songs especially written for the show, so basically no one could even sing along with them. But the most bizarre part of the show came when actor Edward James Olmos delivered a deadly serious narration to the camera, saying things like, "Go now and celebrate your dreams as the magic of the millennium continues to bring us together." Number 3. Elvis Presto. The 1989 Super Bowl halftime show for the game between the Cincinnati Bengals and San Francisco 49ers ended up being one of the most unusual halftime show performances of all time. NBC debuted a 3D TV presentation for the show that was headlined by an Elvis impersonator called Elvis Presto, and it was a whole mess. The show featured the world's largest card trick, where 4 playing cards were on the field. During the show, Elvis Presto asked the audience to pick from 4 cards by clapping their hands. Hilariously, next to no one in the audience clapped, and the several cutaways to the genuinely disinterested crowd helped cement this halftime show as a dark chapter of American history. According to an NFL Films documentary, Alex Cole, the man who portrayed Presto, got the job 3 days before the game after the previous actor quit the show to do a Lee Jeans commercial. Cole said that he didn't perform again on stage after that Super Bowl. In fact, the NFL is so embarrassed by the Elvis Presley disaster, they've blocked sharing YouTube videos of the event onto other websites. Number 2, New Kids on the Block. The Boston-based group was one of the many fresh-faced bands to burst into the pop culture scene at the turn of the decade. They were rewarded for their popularity with a spot at the Super Bowl 25 halftime show, but this turned out to be a horrible idea, mainly because the group was forced to perform their incredibly juvenile hit song called This One's for the Children, which does the opposite of setting the mood for the big game. Disney handled production, and the New Kids on the Block were surrounded by giant cartoon characters. To make matters worse, the song then segued into a Disney kiddie choir. This performance went down as one of the worst halftime shows of all time. In fact, it wasn't even aired until after the game, because ABC used the halftime slot to give a news update on Operation Desert Storm in the Persian Gulf. So if anything, that should tell you all you need to know about how this performance turned out. And coming in at number 1, Disney's Indiana Jones. The 1995 performance will forever live in infamy as one of the worst things the NFL has ever seen. This show is perhaps one of the most criticized in all of Super Bowl history, and it's for a good reason. At the time, Disney decided it would be a great idea to whip up a shameless marketing gimmick with Indiana Jones songs, all to promote a new theme park ride. The show was just a spectacle of sets and characters from the film series, but it was a complete disaster. This included impersonators for Indy and Marion, which did not exactly work out well. If that wasn't enough, someone thought it would be a good idea to bring up Patti LaBelle, Tony Bennett, and Teddy Pendergrass after the spectacle to sing Can You Feel the Love Tonight. In a year of high-profile disasters, this one was way up there. To be fair, TV viewers all across America were warned when the announcer said in the beginning of the show, "Hold on, I've got a bad feeling about this."
Coming in at number 10 today, we have Miss Finland. Beauty contestant model Miss Finland, commonly known as Erica Helen, has claimed that she was kicked out of a restaurant because of her inappropriate outfit. Erica, who has competed in numerous national modeling contests, said a jerk of a security guard booted her from a restaurant because of her attire. After Erica claims her outfit in question featured her wearing a bralette top, which she paired with a black miniskirt, heels, and a matching bag, Erica was in the restaurant focusing on a good-natured conversation with her friends when the security guard suddenly approached her table to take her out of the restaurant, and he told her she had to leave. When Erica gathered her stuff and walked out of the bar without objecting in any way, the security guard started to criticize her outfit of choice. While Erica noticed that she could have just grabbed another shirt from a store if the outfit was pointed out right away, she also said in her opinion, it is contradicting to even take in a customer if the outfit is not suitable, and that it's no longer appropriate to change your minds after and humiliate the customer in the process. While it still remains a mystery to why the security guard behaved so aggressively with her, Erica felt really threatened by the whole situation. While the manager of the restaurant has come out to make amends with her, he's also guaranteed that he will retrain his staff on how to handle this situation better next time. And number 9, Britney Spears. In 2007, Britney Spears would find herself in a throw of prolonged and public episodes of apparent mental health breakdowns. And in one of them, she made a spectacle of smearing food across her face in a restaurant in Los Angeles. Other diners present, including fellow pop diva Victoria Beckham, mentioned to the staff that Britney was acting really strange when she started to play dress up with her dinner. Eventually, the staff intervened and escorted Britney from her table and outside of the restaurant hotel, and she would then be informed that she was no longer welcome on the hotel grounds. While her sin wasn't her behavior itself, it was because of her unapologetic nature of her behavior that really didn't sit well with the restaurant staff. Her restrictions, however, were finally lifted after Spears cleaned herself up and agreed to follow the dress code of not playing dress up with her food, as she was pictured celebrating her 28th birthday there 2 years after the incident occurred. While no one really knows the reason behind Britney's breakdown, it's been hinted that if you want to get away with certain actions at Chateau Marmont, then you have to be really mum about your antics, and if you get caught, you have to be playfully vague about it. However, noting that there was absolutely no way Britney could have gotten away with playing dress up with her food, especially since she was saying it was so good while doing it. Hey Peaches, are you enjoying this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And number 8, Rita Ora. After gathering too much attention from a selection of revealing outfits, actress Rita Ora was reportedly banned from wearing anything too risky on future episodes of The Voice if she wanted to stay on the show. According to The Sun, the singer was ordered by BBC bosses in 2015 who are said to have frowned upon her outfits that included a nipple-bearing sheer top, a shirt that had a graphic image of breast, and while promoting her debut on The Voice ahead of the season that year, she attracted complaints when she appeared on The One Show in a deep plunging top. While the bosses didn't really get involved when viewers complained about the revealing suit, they did feel like the t-shirt was too close to the mark and her see-through top took her right over the top. However, while Rita agreed to sport a tamer look, she would state that she wasn't going to dress like a nun because that wasn't her style. And number 7, Miley Cyrus. Miley Cyrus would find herself banned from the cover of US Vogue following her raunchy VMA performance with Robin Thicke back in 2013. While the singer had already posed for the December cover, Anna Wintour decided to axe her shoot. With Anna finding the whole performance extremely distasteful, she decided that based on Miley's VMA's performance to take the cover in a different direction. The high-profile editor was at first behind Miley taking the prestigious cover and was eager for the shoot to go ahead. While it makes sense that Miley would be the cover of the issue since it was coming out in October at the same time her album was coming out, after she had another wardrobe malfunction in Paris, she could kiss her cover goodbye. When Miley was spotted out posing for photographers, despite making another wardrobe malfunction for the paparazzi, Miley would then lift her arm to wave at fans waiting outside when her top slipped down. Not only did she not have a problem with her wardrobe malfunction, however, Anna Wintour would think differently, and she would then go on to cancel Miley's issue from appearing that year. And number 6, Beyonce. From music royalty to a powerful businesswoman, Beyonce is a household name with superstar status. While being one of the most famous women in the world, she too has even had some controversial moments. While it's not uncommon for celebrities to be banned from other countries due to their publicized actions, it may come as a surprise to some in the Beehive that Beyonce is one of them. When Malaysia issued a ban on Beyonce from ever touring, performing, or entering the country, with the country's strict Muslim leadership, Beyonce would be deemed too sexy for Malaysia. Beyonce was scheduled to perform in Malaysia in 2007, but due to her inappropriate outfit concerns, it would lead to her ban and she would have to cancel her performance in the country. According to a BBC report, female performers at Malaysian concerts are required by government rules to cover up from shoulders to knees and have no cleavage showing. Since Beyonce is known for her confidence and sexy performance, it was understandable to why the country thought it was a good idea to ban her. However, it was kind of ridiculous to have such strict and permanent ban for a celebrity who was most likely going to follow the country rules so she wouldn't offend anyone. And number 5, Janet Jackson. In 2004, Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake formed during the Super Bowl halftime show. During the performance, Janet had a wardrobe malfunction after Justin pulled a part of her outfit down. The moment would then become a huge controversy. While both singers apologized for the incident, Jackson would be banned from attending the 2004 Grammy Awards. While Justin, on the other hand, was able to attend the show that year and he was able to issue an additional apology at the event. While Janet has apologized by saying the decision to have my costume revealed at the end of my halftime show performance was made after the final rehearsal, MTV was completely unaware of it. It was not my intention for it to go as far as it did. I apologize to anyone I offended, including the audience, MTV, CBS, and the NFL. Janet was also so heavily punished for her accidental wardrobe malfunction because they did not believe that the wardrobe malfunction was an accident. While both Justin and Janet were both initially banned from the Grammys, Justin would be allowed to perform at the Grammys after he had a tearful apology for the incident. As a result, Janet, for not taking sole responsibility for the incident, was ordered. Viacom properties and MTV and all Viacom-owned radio stations had to stop playing Janet's songs and music videos. The fallout of the event then drastically affected Janet's career. And number 4, Nikita Dragun. When Nikita Dragun was on vacation in Miami back in November, what was meant to be a chill vacation would result in Nikita finding herself being arrested at the Good Time Hotel. In a police report obtained by TMZ, it would describe a chaotic scene in which Nikita was walking around the pool wearing no clothes. After the staff repeatedly asked her to put on clothes, Nikita would opt to pour water on the hotel workers instead. instead. Later, after police responded to the phone call, they would head to Nikita's hotel room, where she would then pour water on them as well, and this would lead to her arrest. While Nikita was being held at a male jail until her bail was set at $2,000 by a judge in court, her placement was really controversial because Nikita is legally a woman, and being held in a prison housed with only men was a clear violation of her human rights. Upon being released, she would then be set to appear back in Miami court again in December, and she was only allowed to go back to the Good Time Hotel to collect her things alongside of a supervising officer. Due to Nikita disobeying the hotel's dress code and refusing to follow their instruction, she would also find herself permanently banned from the hotel. And number 3, Lady Gaga. Now, Lady Gaga has a knack for attracting attention, and sometimes it's because of her very controversial costume choices. When Lady Gaga was touring Asia in 2012, she chose not to tone down her show despite some of the country's protests. With there being only a minor opposition, Gaga would find her Born This Way tour show being cancelled in Indonesia by national police after they refused her a permit for what they called safety reasons. The police would then say her outfits are too sexy, indulgent, and erotic. It's said that the move to refuse Gaga's permit is thought to be in response to a protest by the National Council, the top Islamic body in Indonesia. While the police itself had no problem with Lady Gaga, the Islamic Defenders Front political organization claimed that Gaga's dance moves were vulgar and it would corrupt young people, and they even threatened to deploy 30,000 members to physically prevent Lady Gaga from getting off the plane. Although much of Indonesia is politically moderate, the Islamic Defenders Front has become increasingly vocal, and they even thanked the police for banning Lady Gaga's show. With human rights groups seeing this move as a dangerous step back from the country, they have even expressed concern. And the show's promoter expressed sadness that the country was not mature enough to be able to separate their own moral values from the arts and culture. And number 2, Kendall Jenner. In 2014, Kendall Jenner's risky Marc Jacobs runway appearance during the New York City Fashion Week would officially be banned from Instagram after the reality TV star strutted down the Marc Jacobs runway with her top half exposed. Amid the backlash would result in Instagram to remove the image from the photograph sharing website. With the photo violating Instagram's guidelines, Kim first tried posting Kendall's picture to her Instagram after she noticed Instagram deleted the photo. She would say, "Can Instagram just delete your photos?" Maybe Kendall Jenner was too hot for Instagram. While both Kim and Khloe both posted the photographs of their sister's top half fully exposed without an undergarment on the Marc Jacobs runway, one fan attempted to explain the backlash that Kendall's outfit was receiving by saying, "We're not hating Khloe, she just needs to cover up, she doesn't need to dress like that." And Khloe responded to the tweet by saying it's a fashion show, she doesn't choose. Many fans found it even quite weird that even Kris Jenner posted the picture. As if any of us posted a picture like that, I don't think any of our mothers would have been proud of our risky behavior being displayed for the whole world to see on a site that children use. While the photo would go on to be banned on Instagram, it seems like Instagram would then start to be more strict about the content that you can post on its platform. And coming in at number 1 today, we have Bruce Springsteen. Bruce Springsteen and his E Street Band guitarist would find themselves being thrown out of Disneyland in 1983 after they were caught violating the park's dress code. According to the memoirs written by both musicians, the E Street entourage would find themselves thrown out of Disneyland after they refused to remove their bandanas that they were wearing. Bruce wrote in his Born to Run autobiography that the Disneyland security team was extremely worried that Bruce and his guitarist, Steven, would be misidentified as a gang member if they didn't remove their bandanas. While both were shouting, "We're out of here," Bruce would recall shouting, "We're going to Knott's Berry Farm." However, they couldn't even get into Knott's either due to the same reason. In a letter Steven wrote in 1983, he would say, "At Disneyland, enforcing this ridiculous law is also an attack on the rock and music and all the people who believe in it. They're telling me nobody rocks in the Magic Kingdom. Nobody expresses their individuality in the Magic Kingdom except maybe the guy in the rodent suit. It is time to boycott Disney until the vague and unfair dress code they enforce is abolished once and for all." However, even today it seems like you just can't wear anything to Disneyland, as they'll turn you around and ask you to buy clothes from one of their many expensive shops.